Okay. All right. So I know that song is going to be sticking in your head, and it is old. You know, like you said, I know some of you, I probably don't even know that Macarena they were doing. That was probably, I don't know, 25 years ago. But it still is the same four principles, and that is price, product, place, promotion. And you'll be hearing that throughout this whole semester. And every time you hear price, product, place, promotion, you'll probably hear that horrible little ditty. But that's why they did it that way, so that you would always remember those four main parts of marketing. Okay, so let's go back now to the PowerPoint.
At what charge a product or service is offered for sale to the customer.
I didn't ask it to do that. Hold on. Let me close that out. All right, let's try this again. Okay. So those are the main parts of marketing. Come on. Now, we're looking at what the meaning or marketing. What's the meaning of marketing? The meaning is marketing is that you're planning and executing, you're pricing, you're promoting it, and you're distributing it. And the process of planning and executing the conception, the pricing, the promotion, distribution of ideas and goods and services to create exchanges that individuals that satisfy individual or organizational needs. Basically, what this boils down to is that you can have something that you think is wonderful to sell, but if you don't market it to the right people or market it in a way that those people think they need it, or even maybe want it, but particularly need it, then it's not going to go anywhere. You know, there can be the most wonderful product in the world. If nobody knows about it, it's just going to sit there. Anybody that watches Shark Tank will see that regularly. They'll say, what have you done? What's your customer acquisition cost? You know, why isn't anybody buying it? You know, it's a great product. Why is it going nowhere? And it's all about marketing. And then you've got prerequisites for marketing and who actually does the marketing. So here we are looking at the, I've got two computers going, so this is price, product, place, promotion, what the song you just heard about. Basically, it's known as the 4 Ps, the product. And, you know, a lot of us, when we think of marketing, we think of it as being a product. You know, you're going to market a brand new Ford 150, you know, or you're going to market a new restaurant that's got, you know, the best food in town or whatever it happens to be. You think of it as a product, but marketing is also for services. And so you need to think about what is it that you're providing. Are you providing a product, literally a product, or is your product actually a service? And so when you're in healthcare, you're actually, you know, providing a service of some sort. And you've got, you might have an emergency room as your service, and you could have a web-based consulting service. There's all kinds of things that are just to provide what you provide in hospitals. So there's all kinds of things can be your product. It's just how you view it. And then you got to come up with a price. Now, you might think you have, you know, the most wonderful thing in the world, and you're thinking to yourself, boy, it cost me so much money to develop this product, and someone needs to pay for that. But here's the problem. People, you can't sell it for something people aren't willing to pay for it. They have to want it bad enough, and they have to be willing to pay the price you're asking for it. So that's, you know, that's where a lot of things come into hand, where people will buy the store brand instead of the name brand. Because one example of that I was reading the other day, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the mugs that the first ones that came out. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking on the name. The ones that are very expensive, and they also have coolers.
Stanley cups?
The ones even more expensive than that came out before Stanley got so popular. Stanley's been around a long time. That's a good one. That's a good explanation. A good one also. We'll use Stanley because that's a good idea. All right, so Stanley cups cost about $40 for those cups with the handle on them. You can go to Walmart and get one that looks just like it for probably $8 or $10. Now, are they the same? Well, in some cases, they're actually even made in the same factory, you know, which is unusual to think about. Maybe not Stanley, but this other one I'm thinking about definitely are made in the same factory. They're just popped off different lines. So people are saying, okay, I'm going to pay $10 and not buy this $40 one. So because they're not willing to pay the $40 for the name and maybe a little bit longer, keeping the water cool a little bit longer, keeping it hot a little bit longer. So what are people willing to pay for the product that you're providing? So that's, you really got to think about it when they're looking at the price. And then the place has to do with where are you going to provide this service? How is it going to be? How is the customer going to get it? And that could be a lot of different ways to distribute it for healthcare. You've got insurance, prepaid healthcare plans. You know, there are decisions to be made. So what is the place? So it's not necessarily a building or a, you know, a location like that. The place might be how is it being distributed. So when you're looking at HMOs, for instance, you know, how is that distributed? What are people willing to pay for it? What are they willing to give up? You know, are they willing to give up have a wide network? What are they willing to give up? What do you have that you can provide them that makes it more inviting to them? So you're looking at the place as being, you know, basically how it's distributed. Yeah, it's not necessarily a Ford dealership. You know, if you're in healthcare, it might just be healthcare plans, you know, and how they're distributed out. So when you're looking at healthcare and you're looking at the product, it can be the service, you're looking at the price. What are people willing to pay for it? Are they willing to go to a plastic surgeon in Newport Beach to have, let's say, some work done that is not for a want, it's a need. You know, there's something that maybe, you know, some type of surgery that plastic surgeons do that, you know, that you actually need for health reasons, not just for vanity's sake. So are they willing to go pay the extra money in Newport Beach than what they would pay maybe for that same surgery in LA? You know, so because if it's a need and not a want, then it could be covered by insurance or whatever it happens to be. So you need to look at, you know, how does price come into play? How does place come into play? How's it distributed? And then how are you going to promote it? You know, there's all kinds of ways to promote things, and everybody's looking for ways to save money. We'll be doing a project pretty soon, actually, that has to do with marketing and the way you can get it. Yeti, somebody put in Yeti. You're right. That's what I was trying to think of. The Yeti cups and the Walmart cups, I read an article say they pop off the same assembly line. I don't know how true it is, but that's what I read somewhere. Anyway, when you go to promote things, people are looking for ways to save money. I can almost guarantee you when y'all have an internship, at least half of y'all, they'll say, oh, you're young, you know how to do the social media, you know, depending on where you're at. And they're going to put you in charge of Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever it happens to be, and you're going to have to know how to market the business or whatever it is that you're working for in a way that will get attention and keep attention. And that doesn't mean having like a 30-minute YouTube video that, you know, people are going to be bored the first 3 minutes of it. You know, you're going to have to figure out how to hold people's attention and what's the best way to bring that business to your company. And oftentimes it's like Twitter and all these accounts oftentimes are free. So it doesn't cost money like in the old days when you had to pay for ads in newspapers and all these different places. Now, some of the social media companies do in fact charge businesses, whereas they don't charge individuals, but it's typically at a much lower rate. And they're having someone do it that's on staff anyway. So you're not paying an actual marketing company. I don't know how many of you ever watched the TV show Bewitched, but Daryl on the TV, or Darren on the TV show, he was a person that works for a marketing company, and they did ads for newspapers and, you know, all these different types of vehicles that you could get, magazines, billboards, whatever it happened to be. But the companies were paying them a lot of money to do that for them. In today's world, more often than not, it's done in-house. So, you know, how are you going to promote it? That's what some of the things we'll be looking at. Okay, got some notes here. I'm sure I missed it. So again, all of them are looking for places to cut, you know. So that's one of the places that gets cut. Sometimes advertising money, when they decide how much money they're going to use for advertising, there's all kinds of ways to decide, you know, how much money you're going to set aside for advertising. More often than not, though, what they set aside is what's left over. By the time you pay all your salaries and pay all your expenses, your overhead, all those different things, a lot of times there's not a lot of money left. And that's not really a very good thing, because if you're not promoting, you're not going to make any more the next year either. So all these things you need to think about in price, in product, price, place, and promotion. I don't know why this thing is not moving like it should. Okay. Now, this is an interesting idea. I kind of touched on it just a second ago, the difference between a need and a want. Let's look at this. Somebody tell me in healthcare, what would be a need as far as healthcare? Anybody I can't call, you just kind of shout it out.
Like medications.
Medication, absolutely. A need is medication. What about if you were running and you fell and you broke your leg? Is that a need to get it fixed? Yes? No?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Insulin, that's a good one. Okay. And it absolutely is a need. Now, let's look at what is a want. Do you think that getting your behind lifted is a need? Anybody?
No.
No. Okay. So that's a want. And, you know, California, when I first came here from Texas, I was really surprised at how many people have plastic surgeons on speed dial. And because here in California, maybe because of the Hollywood industry and, you know, the general emphasis on, in a lot of ways, on looking, you know, young and looking a certain way, you know, people tend to probably have more plastic surgery than they might in Texas, or at least that was what I had been exposed to. So I was really surprised. But there's things that in healthcare, you know, like Botox, for instance. In most cases, is that a need or a want?
A want.
A want, that's right. Now, they have been using Botox for things like migraine headaches and stuff like that, but the majority of Botox is definitely a want. You want to have big puffy lips, or you want to have whatever it happens to be, you know, puffed up, wrinkles gone away. So that's definitely a want. Now, do insurance companies typically pay for wants?
No.
No, that's right. They do not. So that's something that you have to be willing to pay for. Now, then you make a decision. Well, do I want to go to a plastic surgeon that has, you know, does mostly needs and maybe it just has, you know, average reviews? Or am I going to pay twice as much and go to Newport Beach or to, you know, one of the other high-end areas where they have incredible reviews and all kinds of benefits along the side, like they'll, you know, they have a back door where people won't see you come in or come out, you know, they have, you know, high level security so no one can find you or know that you've done it or whatever it happens to be. So in that case, you're looking at what does this medical facility offer, and is it worth the extra money if I'm just doing something simple, you know, like puffing up my lips or whatever it happens to be. So a lot of research is involved in that. But that's what you need to think about when you're looking at healthcare and, you know, what you're going to be using for your price, product, place, promotion. Now, a lot of times these places like these very high end, for instance, plastic surgeons, they don't really need to promote too much because they've got word of mouth. So, you know, what is it? Where do you need to put your money at? So this is what we're looking at here. Wants and needs in healthcare, you know, and how it affects how you promote, how you price, and so forth. I don't know why my computer is not wanting to. There we go. And then you want to know, who is your customer? If you know, who is your target group? Because if you don't know who your customer is, then you're not going to know who you can target to. And your target group is, you figure out what it is that they need, or not necessarily what they want, but what they need. And then you figure out how you can market to them. And a lot of things take place in that situation. You know, for instance, if you're looking at a family practitioner, then his customer is going to be very, very different than a practitioner that specializes in gerontology, or a practitioner that an obstetrician, or whatever it happens to be. Your customer base is going to be totally different. So if you spend your dollars, let's say that you are starting a new practice and it's working with high, what's wrong with my brain today? People that have a chance of having problems with their pregnancies, you know, and this might be people over 36, or it might be, you know, whatever the reason is, but you're specializing in those high risk pregnancies. Do you think that you would be spending your money validly if you went to a nursing home? Do you think they would probably need your type of service? Or to people over 55 or over 60, what's the likelihood that they would need, you know, a high risk pregnancy service? Anybody?
No.
That's right. Not likely. Absolutely not likely. And, you know, of course, you know, there were those cases. If you read my 417, you read an article about a lady that was 70 years old that got pregnant with assistance, you know. But in most cases, you know, you're not going to be marketing there. You're going to be marketing to other individuals. So you don't waste your time and effort. You know, you don't have this shotgun effect. You know, like if you market that on a billboard, the shotgun effect is that a lot of people are going to see it that don't want it or need it at all. So you're kind of wasting your money. It's kind of like in Texas, we call it the scattergun, you know, where you shoot at something and it just shoots everything in the, you know, like all these little pellets fly everywhere, and you just hope you get something, you know. And this is kind of like what that type of advertising is. You shoot it out there, but the likelihood of you hitting the target you're looking for is not good. Okay, let's see. I'm telling you, my computer has really been obnoxious. This comes straight out of your book, and this is non-market based planning, which means that you have missions and goals. You formulate a strategy to meet those missions and goals, and then you implement it, and then you market it. Now, by doing that, you've decided what it is you want to market, and you've figured out how you're going to do it and how you're going to implement it, and then you're going to market it, as opposed to you're looking at the market and you're saying, what is it that my market needs? And what is it that my people need? Or what is it they're looking for? What is it they're willing to pay for? This is done more in-house, saying, well, this is what we think you need, and this is how we're going to do it, and then we're going to tell you that you need it. So some companies do it that way, and sometimes it's successful. But today's world, people are marketing, trying to gauge what the market will support, because there's not a lot of extra money out there floating around. All right, so, give me 1 second to be sure I told you everything that about that one, because I'm working off 2 computers today. So non-marketing goals and missions are examined and then strategy formulated. In other words, powerful positions decide what they want, and then that's what they do. And then it's implemented. And sometimes when they do the non-marketing way like that, you end up with a facility that's not used. There was an example in the book where they talked about this very powerful doctor that decided he wanted to have a physical, not cardiac, but working with physical therapy, and decided that the hospital needed to spend a bunch of money on a wing for rehab and physical therapy and whatever it happened to me. I don't remember the exact what they talked about, but what they didn't look at was that there was already a facility doing that was like less than a mile away that had been doing it for years very successfully. So when they opened up this clinic, like as part of this new hospital wing, it was rarely used, and they ended up turning it into something else because there wasn't enough that made it different to pull all the business away from the established business. So that's one of the problems that happens with non-marketing, where you just decide that you're going to build something because that's what you want or what some powerful doctor wants, and you don't look and see if the world wants it, if your customer wants it. Now, when you're looking at the eras in marketing, then you're looking at the production. It's different phases. Let me go back up here a second. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm having issues here with my computer. Okay, so during the production era, it was many years ago, what they wanted to do was to produce high quality. And this was back, a long time ago when everybody took pride in what they did. And everything that was turned out was pretty well local. Before highways and mass transportation, people didn't get stuff from all over the world typically. What you typically used was really made fairly locally. You had, places that ground your wheat. You had places that, you bought fresh vegetables. Everything was pretty well, because it wasn't mass transportation wasn't around. First off, there were no vehicles, so everything had to be delivered by horse and buggy. And then once there were vehicles, there were no roads. And so, the vehicles were going along the same passageways that horses and buggies had gone along, so it wasn't real efficient. So during that period of time, everything was made locally. If someone made you a piece of furniture, they made it from start to finish, and you bought it directly from the person who made it. So that was during like the production era, when we were producing stuff locally, and it was sold probably not over 30 miles around from where you were located at. Then you had the sales era, and that started out in the 1920s. And that's when we're starting to build roads. They had cars that ran off of gas. They could travel further. They didn't take them, 8 hours to go, for just maybe 5 miles. You could actually travel a short distance. And once you had the vehicles, then you started to have trucks that you could deliver goods and stuff. So they could start spreading out where they were selling to, which also meant that you were able to get products from maybe 2 or 3 or 4 counties over, because they had vehicles that could deliver them to you. It was back in these days in the production era, you got your milk and your eggs pretty much straight from the people who were producing it, straight from the farmers who were producing it, or from a general store, that had fresh products that they bought from the farmers, and then you went and bought it from them. But everything was local. During the sales era, this is when typically this traveling salesman began, because now he didn't have to go with a wagon. And I don't know, any of you ever watched some of the old Westerns like Gunsmoke or like Little House on the Prairie or any of those where they had a guy, a panhandler, they called him. And he would come around and he would have a closed-in wagon that was full of all kinds of things like pots and pans and everything you can imagine they would stuff in there. And so he would come around, you know, once a month or once every couple of months, and you would buy what you needed from him. But prior to that, you know, everything you had was like homemade or handmade or whatever it took. So the advent of the highways and the vehicles made it possible to actually get things from further away. And you had these salesmen, and sometimes they were salesmen and they had like a big briefcase and they would just have samples and you would buy from them and then they would be delivered to you later. And then there was a shift, like I talked about a little earlier, about the marketing. And when hospitals started marketing, when they got into the mix was in the 70s. And that's when 1970s. And that's when they Evanston created their first marketing position. And that's when you really had to start hospitals had to start going directly to the patient. This is when insurance companies started saying, you know, we're going to let the patient choose and we're going to reimburse that way, as opposed to the doctor choosing and having you had to go wherever the doctor was. And sometimes the doctor may have been an hour away from your house, you know, at the wherever hospital he was practicing at. So this was a move for the client to actually have a say-so in where they were going to go to the hospital or where they were going to take care of their healthcare needs. Okay, then the marketing, you look at the different types of what type of marketing you're doing, where you're going to market to. All of that is part of your target group, your what it is you are providing, and what it is that the way that your company is approaching it. So if we look at the marketing culture, we look at that it goes across the entire organization. It can be long-term, it can be profitable, it can be customer focused, it can be all these different ways when you're looking at the marketing culture. If it's competitor oriented, then you're looking at what other people are providing. Can you do it any better, or is it better for you to specialize in something else? And it needs to be customer focused. What is it the customer needs, and what is it they're willing to pay for, and what is it they're willing to come to you for? We talked a little bit about non-market driven a few minutes ago when I told you that that's when within the company you decide, you know, what you want to offer, as opposed to looking at what it is that the consumer wants. If it's market driven, it's driven by the people who are actually using your product or your service. Okay, then we've got primary stakeholders. Every class you take just about is going to talk about stakeholders. These are the people who have something to gain or something to lose, but they are your primary stakeholders in any organization. Your secondary stakeholders do not necessarily engage in the organizational transactions, but they are also stakeholders. And these could be, you know, like, I don't know, the hospital board, or, you know, there's different people that could be your secondary stakeholders. The primary stakeholders, they're the people that you're primarily dealing with and that they actually have a say-so or some action in part of your, in what you're doing in your marketing. And here's the different stakeholder positions. This comes straight from your book. It's also in the PowerPoints that you have. Okay, now it's already 10 till, I'm in a different time zone, but it's 10 till 9. So I'm going to stop here. And I'm going to ask, do you have any questions? Are we doing good so far? Everybody hanging in there with me? You know, anytime you don't want to ask questions like in the chat or in person, you can always text me later and say, I really didn't understand this. Can you explain it to me a little better or a different way? You know, sometimes I can say things one way, and then if I cue in on you, you know, maybe I can give you an example or something that makes it easier to understand. I can say it in another way, but I don't ever want you to feel like you can't ask me. And maybe you don't want to ask in front of the class, you can always contact me later and we'll talk about it. But I want y'all to understand these basic concepts because they're really important for the rest of the semester, and they'll be taking part in a lot of the assignments that you have. So at this moment, does anybody have any questions? And then we're kind of zipping through it pretty fast. Now I know some people came in, so I'm gonna be sure I don't leave you out. I think Yanehi came in, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Thank you.
And also I didn't see Trin. Did Yulika come in?
Yes, I'm here, Professor.
Okay, super. Okay, so we're just missing Trin then. Okay. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do now. I am going to send y'all the file that has your group numbers. Then I'm going to open up the breakout room, and you're going to go into the room, the breakout room that your group number is. And let me see. Oh, I think it's not going to let me file it. Let's try it. It's usually, for some reason, it's really, I don't know why it's acting so ugly with me lately. Give me 1 second. The file does not show up, and I do not know why. So I'm going to send it to you by email. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Hang on. All right. And then y'all should, if you don't have access to your email, I will also post it into the chat. I'll try to copy paste it into the chat. 1 second. I don't know why sometimes the file shows up there and why it doesn't. And I asked them about that at the help desk, and they said they didn't know either. I don't know. All right, I am about to send it to you now. Maybe. I don't like I don't send it ahead of time because I don't want some of y'all to get a jump start on picking out your, you know, what y'all want to do it on. I want it to be equal. All right. Oh, and okay. Now I just sent it to your email. Now I'm going to come back in here and see if I can copy paste it since it does not seem to want to allow me to attach the file in the chat for some reason. Actually, I guess I just have 5 groups this time. I thought I had 6. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna. Oh, here's the file. Okay, I'm gonna attach it here. Also, it just reappeared. Okay, and what you're gonna do once y'all get into your groups, you're gonna decide which one of the ones that you want to. Tell me it's currently used. Hang on. I don't know why it does that. You're going to decide which one that which social media that you want to use. Try this again. Okay, y'all should be able to see it. And I'm going to open up the breakout rooms, and as soon as you see what your number is, then you'll choose that breakout room number. Okay, so I should see y'all start popping in. Everybody should be able to see it. And you're going to email me, and email me your first choice, your second choice, and your third choice. And you should be able to assign yourself to the rooms according to your group number. All right, I'm seeing y'all pop out. Good deal.
Professor, I have a question. We're picking the social medias for what's the topic again?
Okay, you're going to do a presentation on the social media of your choice that it can be TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, any of the social medias that are used for healthcare. And then you're going to do a presentation on how you can use it in healthcare.
Oh, okay. That's just the topic. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Professor, do we just leave the meeting and then it'll take us to our breakout room?
You should, yeah, you should be able to pop into you should choose the room number and go into the breakout room.
Because I don't see anything on my screen.
You should be able to, let me see. You should be able to choose the breakout room. I don't know what number you are. Let's see. Do you have a copy of the,
I'm group 4.
okay, I'm going to send you there. I don't know
Okay.
why you're not seeing it, but
Okay.
I'm going to send you there. Hang on.
Okay, thanks.
Sure, no problem. Okay, there you go. You
Thank
can
you.
just, you bet.
I can't tell what group I'm in either.
Okay, did you open the page?
Yeah,
Okay,
it looks
find your name, and the group is to the left.
so I should be in group 3, I think.
Okay, let me send you there.
Oh, thank you.
You bet. There you go. Just click join. Okay, I don't think we're back. All right, okie dokie. I sent the group list again, and I apologize a while ago. What I sent y'all I had not sorted it. I sent you the one that was unsorted. It would have been much easier for you if I'd have done it the right way. I apologize for that. Right now, it's sorted into your group names by group, and it's got the social media that you got. Now, here's what I'm looking for this. This is a group project, and what you're going to be submitting to me is I think I might have taken out the one-page thing, but what you're going to do basically, let me go back to because I changed it a little bit this time, and I don't want to tell you something wrong, so I'm going to pull up the syllabus and tell you exactly what I've got. Give me 1 second here. Okay, you're going to do a PowerPoint. You're going to do a handout that is, let me go back over here. I can get back with you. Okay, there's two deliverables on this. Well, 3 when you consider your comments. The first deliverable is you're going to do a handout that's like 1 page, and that's what's going to be uploaded to the discussion board. And on that handout, you're going to talk about whatever social media is you selected. You're going to have the history, a little bit of the history, like who created it, why it was created, if it went through any changes. Like, I can't remember if anybody had Twitter, but you know, it's gone through several morphings. And you're going to talk a little bit about that. You're going to talk about how you would use it in healthcare and give some examples of where it's being used now in healthcare. Then you're going to have a step-by-step instructions on what it takes to open an account and how you would upload it, how you would create your name. Does it cost money for a business? All that information, where if somebody looked at your handout, they could say, oh, okay, I go to this link, and then I do this, and I do this. And by the time they finished with your instructions on that handout, they would have an account, and they would be able to post to that account. So that's one section of it. Then you're going to have references, 3 references in there. And it has to be cited inside the text of that 1 page, as well as a reference list at the end. And the references might be where you got the information. If you were doing Twitter, for example, where did you get the information about the creator of Twitter? And then you would cite it up there in the text where you're talking about it, and then at the end in the reference list. Now, this can be done like a brochure, or it can be done like a 1 page, just the front of a 1 page. However you want to do it, as long as you get the information I'm looking for, the history, the instructions, an example of how it's being used in healthcare, and it has to have references. Reread if you look at the directions on the syllabus, it tells you exactly what needs to be in there. 1 second, and I will read it to you. Okay, so you've already selected your group, the one you're going to do, the social media, and you're going to present it on social media, but your 1 page handout needs to have you need to be creative and interesting so people will want to read it and not lose interest in it. And then you need to have, like I said, the history, the step-by-step guide, and any other kind of information you might be interested for the group to know. Then you're going to also upload to Canvas, but not to the discussion board. And it's only 1 person in the group that's going to upload this, just the team leader. You're going to 1 person will upload all of it to Canvas, and 1 person will upload to the discussion board. All right, the PowerPoint presentation is what you're going to use to present it to the class. And you can have extra stuff in the PowerPoint presentation that is not on the handout, but the handout has to have the step-by-step guide, a little bit of the history, and how it's used in healthcare, and some examples of it being used in healthcare, real-life examples. The PowerPoint is what you're going to follow in order to present it to the class. And everybody has to take part in that presentation. It's 4 to 6 minutes, and you're going to be basically presenting your information about your social media project. On the discussion board, you're going to upload that one page, and then everybody in the class has to comment on every other group, not your own, but every other group. So everybody in the class has to comment on the 4 other groups. And in the comments, you're going to talk about what you learned new that you didn't know about before. And then if you have any other comments about what you thought was especially interesting or anything like that, that's what's going to be in the comment sections. You do not need to have references for your comments. Excuse me. You just need to comment on each of the other groups. Everybody in the class does that, but only one person uploads the presentation or the handout and the presentation. Are we good? Are we clear? We can talk about this again, but are we clear? One person out of the group uploads to the discussion board just the handout. And then everybody comments on all the group's handouts except your own. To Canvas, to the Canvas assignment link, one person uploads the PowerPoint presentation and one person uploads the handout to the assignment link. There'll be 2 links there. And so the handout actually gets uploaded twice to Canvas. It gets uploaded to the discussion board and it gets uploaded to the assignment page. Are we good? Yes? Thumbs up. Are we good?
Yes.
All right, super. So, and remember, if you're confused at all, because this is a lot of information that gets put into you at once, if you're confused at all, you can always text me, call me, email me, and I will tell it to you however many different ways I need to so that you understand. This is a stress-free class. I don't want anybody to be stressed out just because they don't understand something. You know, I'm going to help you. You're going to be successful. I love my students and I want y'all to learn and I want you to be successful. I do not want you stressing out. Okay, we good? All right, I'm an easy to talk to prof, I promise you. Those of you that know me know that. Probably the easiest one on campus. Okay, we're 3 minutes past due. We have class on Thursday. I will most likely give y'all the opportunity to work on your group project for most of the class, but I do need you to be here because this is the one time that you can actually, 8 to 9:15 is when everybody's available. Sometimes it's really hard with work and internships and all that stuff for everybody to get together at the same time. So be sure you're here to work on this project. That's going to be at least an hour that you'll have to get it together. And where no one can say, I can't be there because I've got something else to do. Okay, I will see y'all Thursday. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Professor,
Uh-huh,
I have a question.
sure.
It's regarding the Navigate ebook
Uh-huh.
for our class.
Yes,
and-
I'm still waiting on an answer.
Oh, okay. I was wondering because I couldn't still get the access
Yes,
code and stuff. So
I'm going to call again today. I called them right after y'all asked me about it last week on Wednesday. And they said they would look into it and figure out what they were going to do. They said I'd hear back from them in 2 days. And I don't know, maybe they took an early holiday.
yeah.
I will call them again before Thursday.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor. Have a good day.
You too.
I have a
Bye-bye.
question.
Uh-huh.
For the presentation, is that going to be during Zoom and we'll just upload our slides to the discussion, or is the slides recorded?
No, you'll upload it to the you upload the slides to the assignment, but you will show them again during the Zoom presentation.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You betcha. Have a good
Okay.
day.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.